So for my project, I chose to develop a student leadership program for my church. It was a rewarding experience and it was amazing. I loved every bit of it. It was definitely challenging and I learned a lot about myself through the program, but it was a great experience.
As a parent, seeing my kids serve is the greatest gift, and seeing my kids fall in love with Jesus is the greatest gift, and that truly is the impact that student leadership has had on these kids.
It's impacted our lives significantly. We've seen maturity, not only relationally, but most importantly spiritually. We've seen that growth is just benefited our family in a huge way.
If you show up to Unleashed Middle School here on the Granite Bay campus at Bayside, you will see students hanging out, greeting people, cheering as they walk through the door, helping with check-in, instantly setting up and instantly tearing down as soon as services are over.
So it's been awesome to see my kids grow, change, become leaders in ways that they didn't even know that existed, but also become followers in ways that they have to step out of their box and their comfort zone.
I think it has provided them the opportunity to just be mentored by older adults. They really look up to them, and it's someone else for them in their life to learn from.
So one of the reasons why I decided to actually go ahead with the student leadership project was because I felt like it was a second chance. I remember doing a student leadership program at my old church, and the program was good, it was great, it worked well with a lot of the students. That I knew I wanted to prove to myself that I could overcome them. On the same end, I knew that I had a lot more learning to grow, and a lot more learning to go as far as becoming the best leader, the best me, if you will. And so at this opportunity, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I mean, I was a little wary at first, a little nervous about jumping into a leadership program again, but I was able to do it, and I'm glad that I did. So the leadership program itself is a 9-month program where students get to be challenged, but also they're given opportunities to go on stage, to really make an impact on the ministry itself. They do this through maybe being front door people that welcome people into the program. I mean, there's moments where they're actually kind of weird, that people walk by and they're like, what is going on? Because they're so energetic and really excited to be there. But also we have people that do check-in that help us make sure that we know who's coming in and out of the doors. On top of that, they have moments where we have an atmosphere team that really their job is to look out for first timers, people that have never been to Bayside and really just need a friend to sit with. So it's been really cool watching them be the hands and feet within the ministry that we lead here at Bayside.
2 years ago, student leadership at Bayside was more of just a concept than a fully functioning thing. It was something we tossed around, we took little jabs at it, but it wasn't really a serious, integrated part of what we do on a week-to-week here at middle school. And so a couple years ago, we talked to 3D. He took over that program, and he has just step by step strategically grown it. And what has been so cool about it is our student leadership program is honestly one of the best things, if not the best thing that we do at middle school ministry here at Bayside Church. Parents rave about it. Our other staff want to know, what are we doing? How is this working so well? And honestly, I think that it's 3D's heart, the labor of love he's put into student ministry. It just reminds me over and over again of this verse Paul writes to the Thessalonians. It's 1 Thessalonians 2:8, and it says, "So we cared for you, because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well." And when I read that verse, I think, man, that is 3D's investment into student leadership. He loves the students so much that he shares the gospel and he shares his life, and he creates this culture of serving that has really swept through this ministry. And if you show up to Unleashed Middle School here on the Granite Bay campus at Bayside, you will see students hanging out, greeting people, cheering as they walk through the door, helping with check-in, instantly setting up and instantly tearing down as soon as services are over.
We have a couple goals for the students throughout the year. There's 3 of them. I'm gonna add a 4th one next year if I get to still lead the program. But the first thing that we want to do is we want to give them the tools that they need to find the answers in the Bible. This is the part in their life where they're growing in their faith and they're asking, like, okay, is God real? You know, do I want to stay with what my parents believe in? They're making choices that are going to affect them for the rest of their life. So we got a person coming in, Dina Davison. She does a lot of stuff at Bayside with apologetics. She runs apologetics conference. We got her to speak to them about some of the issues. They got to ask some questions to her. We talked about hermeneutics and exegesis and eisegesis, and we just talked about a lot of stuff in the Bible. We talked through how do you find the answers? How do you really break down the Bible? And so that's one of our first things that we want to do with them, is to really teach them just a good foundation.
So my kids have been in the leadership program for I think about 2 years now, and it's been great to see them grow and change. But the number one thing that I think that I've seen in them is that they not only have learned how to be a leader, but also a follower. And Jesus asks us to follow him, but also lead others to him. And my kids have learned how to be a leader by learning different leadership styles, learning their spiritual gifts, learning what leadership is effective for them, like what style, what could be most effective for other kids when they're following them. And that's the example that Jesus gave us, was to follow him in that direction of being that kind of leader.
The second thing that we're going to do, or that we do, is that we want to make sure that they can communicate really well. So for example, one of the things that we do is we have a whole session where we talk about conflict resolution and how to deal with conflict with your parents, your peers, and how do you address those different things. We had a person come in also to speak about how your posture and your nonverbals and how they can affect how people perceive you, which is really cool. So we work on that. Another thing that we work on, the third thing, is them just being on time. As a leader, when you're on time, you're ready to serve. And so those are just 3 goals that we have that we're really focused on and just really want to home in on for the junior hires. Because when they go to high school, they'll even go way deeper into those things. But we feel like for the success of their lives, if we teach them these things right here, that they're going to do really great for the rest of their life. And the fourth thing that I really want to add in, that I felt like we should have focused on a lot more, really was just building students, like helping them get a passion for reaching people for Christ. And I know it's an embarrassing thing because it almost seems like, yeah, you should have been doing that. But I think we could have honed in on that a lot more. That when they leave the program, that they are reaching their friends. That they're like, hey, no, you need to know Christ. Let's help you. Let's hang out. Let's do life together. And so that's something I really wished I did more of.
It's been amazing to watch them grow in how they reach out to others and kind of look at their peers and perspective from a different perspective. Not just all about themselves and what they can get out of the youth group, but kind of going deeper in looking for kids who are feeling uncomfortable and trying to reach out to them, different ways for them to serve others. It's just been great to see my kids grow in that way and getting closer to God, and to have the adult and college students that are just pouring into my kids is just incredible for their growth, because at this point in their life, they're looking for other people besides their parents. And when they connect with those type of leaders, it's really awesome as parents to see your kids going in that direction and the decisions they're making and the friends that they're making.
And so as far as us reaching our goals throughout the whole program, I really believe that we did a really good job. We made sure students got to learn, they got to grow, we kept it a fun, interactive environment. They had the opportunity to serve. The one goal that I definitely didn't meet is I wanted to build a little binder of all the stuff that we did, all the stuff that we did right, what things went wrong, so when I pass it over to the next person, that they'll have this binder. But just with time, school, work, and everything else, it just didn't really happen. So that was something that was really challenging, and I'm still going to work on it. So I'm working on the binder right now, but I didn't have it done by this project. So what did I learn about myself and about my own leadership? That's a tough question. I would say the first thing that I learned was really that I need to believe in myself. I need to believe in what God has given me, the talents that God has given me, that I can impact people on a higher level than I believe that I can. That I can run a program and do it effectively. When you go to Bayside, sometimes I thought I was a good leader going into Bayside. I kind of had a little bit of I'm a pretty good leader. Let's lead with other great leaders. But I quickly realized that Bayside, they have some really extraordinary gifted leaders. People that when you look at them and you see what they say and how they carry themselves, and you're just like, whoa, oh my gosh, I have so much more learning to do. So I felt like a big fish in a small pond, but in reality I'm a tiny fish in a really big pond of great leaders. And so it kind of messed me up for a bit, and I had to work back up my confidence and my own leadership skills. And even my intern director called me out on it. He's like, 3D, you need to start believing in yourself that you can do it, because they could see that I was able to do it, but it was hard for me to see that I was able to do it. And so that was a huge thing that I had to overcome, that I'm still overcoming today, but I'm going for the challenge. The second thing that I learned was no matter how many resources or people, things might not go as good as you planned. There's just variables outside of your abilities, outside of your grasp, that just are going to mess things up. And so that was something that I had to just learn and grow from. Another thing I learned is that who I have on my team really determines how the year is going to go. Last year, my first year of doing the program, it was a great team, but I didn't vision cast as much as I should have. I didn't recruit the right people necessarily for the job. And half the team was there, and they're great and they were awesome, but the other half, you can tell that it wasn't their passion. They weren't excited about it. So this year I took extra care in who was in student leadership and just making sure that the people that were there wanted to be there. The people that were there, they really had a passion for helping students learn and grow. And there's just a significant difference in the years and how the students reacted to the program. So that's another thing I learned. Also a big thing to have is emotional intelligence. Sometimes I'm a very task-oriented person when I lead, and sometimes I forget that people have feelings. And that's a big flaw of mine, and it's something I definitely need to work on, and I am working on. But as I started to look at people when I would say things to them and just be aware of it, it changed a lot of things. So that was a huge thing. So what are the results of the program? It was the global effect of everything that happened. Well, I would say the global effect first is pretty cool, because we see a lot of the freshmen that were in the program leading in high school and doing a really good job at it. We get a lot of comments about the freshman class and coming in, and that they are a strong team and they're willing to serve and do really well. One of the coolest things, we have a group of students that go to a mission trip, and they're the Spartans team. And what they do is they very much set up the whole camp. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of labor. And usually they don't let freshman students do it. Usually they don't let them do that part of the missions trip. And they had such great, strong students that they were like, yeah, let's bring them in. Let's work them up. And it was just a cool testament to, I know that's a bit on their personalities, and they're just a great group of students. On the same end, I think student leadership really geared them and got them ready for their roles in high school. So as far as results, there's been some really cool results from it. We've seen, as far as the number of students that are in the program, the year before I started to lead it, there's about 20 to 30 students in the program. My first year, 40 students, and then from there we went to 73 students. So there's a lot of value in the program. A lot of students want to be a part of it. They see the challenge, but they also see the great rewards of it.
One story that really strikes me is we went out of town. We do a relationships retreat with our 8th graders where all of our staff and all of our volunteers go away for the weekend. The high school staff came in, and it was them and some of the student leaders who were left over for 6th and 7th grade. And the report I got at the end of that weekend was, the student leaders are amazing. They essentially just took over, started divvying out assignments. Who's going to do closing announcements? Who's going to do welcome? Who's going to do check-in? And as soon as things were over, they set up, they tore down, and the high school staff was blown away, and they said, man, how do we get a student leadership that looks like this middle school program? And so really excited to see what happens with this program and how 3D can continue to grow it and see it become even more amazing, and to see God bless it more and more.